Of course, I'm doing more of these types of videos. We are entering into another election season, and it's always fun to talk about this stuff. You know, this is my bread and butter, and many of you guys found out about myself and the channel, kind of talking about these sorts of things. So what we're going to watch just really quick on Fox Business, I'm going to give a big shout out to Peter, of course, the Mises Institute. You know, they're good friends over there of mine, and he was on Fox Business talking about some economic stuff, and I want to expand on it. I also want you to just hear it from his perspective. It's not long, about a minute. Let's listen in.
New York just said the other day that it's costing them $394 per day per migrant. That's the cost of a decent Disney vacation. That comes out to $144,000 per year. So those California numbers are probably off by a factor of about 40. The only bright spot in this economy at this point is social assistance. It is government welfare. The Wall Street Journal just put out an article. They called it the rise of the welfare industrial complex. More than half of the jobs, the net new jobs last year in this allegedly booming Biden economy, they were social assistance. They were government-associated health care, welfare. That is what is holding this economy up. In fact, in some states, including New York, the social assistance jobs made up more than the jobs created last year. In other words, the real economy is shrinking. The only game going in town is that massive government spending, a lot of it which is going towards migrants. And honestly, I don't think they're being anywhere near honest about the numbers that this is all going to cost us.
And I could have for sure told you that. Now, I think that's the part that people lose sight of, right? There's these hot topics that, you know, we want to hyper focus on, and not saying that these topics, especially something like immigration, is not something to be important about or important to you, or something to emphasize. You know, I totally understand that. However, it's when you look at this thing in the grand scheme of it, and a lot of the stuff that it impacts your everyday. It's all centered around the state. Even the issue of immigration is specifically something that is centered around the government's, and you can say mishandling, if that's what you want to call it, of whatever duties and responsibilities that they're supposedly, I guess, entrusted with. Now, I don't think that people understand how much money already that the government uses, and I spoke about this in a recent video, spends on welfare statism, some form of it, be it in direct health welfare statism, like you know, in some form of payment, but also, if you want to say indirectly, healthcare, things of that nature, where they are spending money to people that, or spending money on welfare statism, and it's significant. It is significant. Whatever you think that it is, it's more. And you throw in that mammoth known as Social Security, it's way more than what you think. People think defense, and I think that's because they look at these like discretionary or undiscretionary sort of budgets, and they get confused. And you probably have seen those pie charts where a significant amount of it will represent like national defense, and then you look into it in its entirety. Looking at the entire federal budget, and you see that no, it's actually much smaller, and the vast majority of the money that the government spends already is on welfare statism. And unfortunately, there are people out there that want them to spend more. If there's nothing else that's more alarming, and anything it is that Peter said here, it should be the fact that even these gains that people point to, short-term jobs added, smoke and mirrors, because the vast majority of it is, or a significant amount of it, maybe not the vast majority of it, maybe the majority of it in certain cities and whatnot, but a significant amount of it is going to welfare statism and jobs, in governmental jobs. Okay, these are fake jobs. You hear me say that all the time, because there's no true demand for it, and they don't operate the same way that private businesses operate. They don't have to worry about sort of revenue issues. They don't have to really worry about making sure these profit margins are the way they need to be, losing money. They don't have to worry about that, because they're dealing with a pool of money that none of us have access to in terms of our operating costs, and that is, they can account for money that they'll never get, and they can spend that money that they'll never get, because they're the government. So they're either going to tax it or sell off assets of unborn people, because the state does allow themselves, the Federal Reserve central banking system allows them to monetize their debt, right? So if anybody operated like the government operated, they'd be out of business. The government, unfortunately, that's not how it works for them. That, though, and what he said should be very alarming to you all, that a lot of these jobs, in some cases, most in terms of certain cities, certain areas, are not these private sector individuals getting out there trying to be great. Let's say boosting up their local economy through creativity, entrepreneurship. That's not what we're getting. We're getting governmental jobs, often those more so in welfare statism in some way, shape, or form, in these fake jobs. That should be alarming to you.